Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are looking all things cake related for Jamison's 7th birthday. So like I mentioned, Jamison just had his 7th birthday, and so we wanted to, of course, make a cake and have a little birthday party for him. But we also had a little party at his school with just his classroom, which was also very fun. So we're going to do that one first, and we are just making some cute little cake pops for that little party, which is what I'm doing here. This is usually just how I make my cake pops. Just bake the cake or use leftover like cake scraps from a cake that you already baked, and then just mix in some frosting until it reaches a right consistency. I'm sure there's measurements somewhere online that you could find, but I usually just mix until it's right. And this time I did get a little bit too much frosting in, but anyways, it turned out okay. So basically you just crumble up your cake like you've seen me do, mix in your frosting, and I usually just mix it up with my hands. That way I can kind of tell the texture and kind of see, when it's ready to roll out into the little cake pop balls. And I'm doing this just to get them consistent in size with our cookie scoop. That way they're all, relatively the same size. And this makes some somewhat smaller for the little kids. That way, if they want more, they can always get two, but these are just a little smaller and easier to handle for them. And then as I am rolling them, I'm of course putting them on a sheet pan, and then we'll move on to the next step, which is here I have some melted white chocolate. So I'm just dipping the cake pop stick into the white chocolate a little bit, and then putting it into the cake pop ball, and this will just keep the cake pop from slipping off once you go to dip the whole thing like in chocolate. So after I get all of the sticks put into the cake pop balls, I will put this in the refrigerator until it is nice and cold. Actually, I think I put it in the freezer, let them really get cold and almost kind of frozen. I was running a little short on time, so they weren't exactly frozen by the time I got them dipped, but they worked out just fine. This is just an extra step that I don't skip anymore, because it really does make a big difference when you go to dip them. So once we have them all dipped, of course they're going straight into the freezer. And then now here is after they're all really nice and cold. So again, just dipping them in some white chocolate again, and then we're just going to give them a nice coating of some sprinkles. So the theme for the colors for his birthday are kind of red and blue. It's kind of the colors that he wanted, so that is the sprinkles that we're using. And I'm just dipping them in, kind of getting all the extra chocolate off before I put on some sprinkles. And being the cake pops are really cold, this chocolate was drying and hardening really fast, so I kind of had to work fast to get those sprinkles put on before it got hardened. once they are all nicely decorated, I'm just going to put in some red tissue paper just kind of here and there, kind of fill in some of the gaps that you could kind of see down into the floral foam that I use to stick the little cake pop sticks into, just to keep them in place. So I'm just kind of decorating it up with some tissue paper, and then this will be done. And here we are up at the school, and I'm just fixing up a table kind of for the little birthday party that we're going to have for his classroom, his classmates. So yeah, again, we're sticking with our colors, kind of red and blues, and just making it nice and fun. Yeah, blowing up some balloons, just kind of decorating with what I had, and trying to keep it, fairly simple. That way it doesn't take a lot of time to decorate, but also keeping it fun for the kids. And for their little goodie bags, their treat bags, we are just a nice arrangement of some different candies, and different little treats that they can take home with them, fill up their bag with whatever they want, and yeah, this just gives them something to go home with. And this is also something that I did for Chloe's birthday party. If you haven't seen that video, I will try to link that below for you. But here is how the table turned out. We have our little birthday boy pin up front. We have our little ice cream cones, and then our cake pops here in the center. And then just have the little treats here just kind of scattered across the table here and there, and then the bags on the end so that they can just grab one and fill it up with that whatever they want. But that was his little party at school. We just had a little time slot that we came in, and we had a party before school let out. And I did end up using my balloon garland tape to attach the balloons up top there. Alright, and now we are back home, so I am starting on his cake for the family, for us at home. So here I am just prepping some things the evening before, and then I'll do the cake in the morning. So here is just some little mud splatters that you'll see how I use them on the cake then. And then I'm also just pouring in some chocolate here in a little baggie. We are going to be making some trees, or attempting to. I wanted to see how this works out using just melted chocolate to make some trees for decorations on a cake, and it did turn out okay, but the trees were a little wobbly, so I would definitely make the trunks a little bit thicker if I would do it again, just so they would stand up a little bit better on the cake. I had to wait till just before we ate the cake to put on the trees, just because they kind of wanted to fall and not stand up straight. So also I'm taking just some green again to finish off the tops of these trees, just making a swirly pattern and kind of filling it in there. Very easy to make. As far as making them, they were not hard at all. Something really easy to add to a cake. And then I will let these harden overnight in the refrigerator. Alright, here is the next day. So I have my cake board, my green frosting that we'll need. Also just a little bit extra white frosting in case we happen to need another color. Here is the cake. Now I had this one in the freezer. I had baked it a couple days ago and put it in the freezer just to keep it fresh. So once I had the top cut off, nice and level, I flipped the cake over. And then now we are starting with the crumb coat in this green color. Alright, and here I forgot to film this, but anyways, I made some Rice Krispies, and then I just shaped them into like little mounds for the little monster truck to be on top of or whatever. So we are just going to take some of this melted chocolate and cover these, make them look like dirt mounds, and this worked out pretty good. So I basically just kind of formed these little hills how I wanted them, making sure the little truck fit on right, and it looked okay before the Rice Krispies, had time to harden up. And yeah, it worked out fine. I just let them dry, as the shape that I wanted them. And then once they were hardened up, we are just covering up with chocolate. And yeah, this worked out really good. And once the chocolate was hardened on our little dirt mounds, now is the time to just place them on the cake, kind of decide where we want them, and yeah, just placing them. I kind of wanted all three on there, but I wasn't quite sure if they're going to fit. We did get them to fit then, but I did have to trim off a little bit of the one, but it worked out, and yeah, I liked how the arrangement looked then. And being this was still a crumb coat, I could kind of pick them up again and move them around as I wanted them to. So now we are just finishing off with the chocolate by making some little tire tracks here for our little truck then later on. And here is the tip now that I'm going to use. I always just call it the grass tip because it's what I use for grass. Or if I'm doing like a teddy bear or puppy, I'll use it for like the fur as well. But it looks, fairly natural for grass. So we're going to put that on our green frosting. And we're going to start piping grass. Now this is a little time consuming, but the end result is always really pretty and is worth it to take the time to do this grass. So basically we're just starting by kind of going around the edges, and then we'll finish off in the centers. are ready to place our truck here. And so I'm just putting in a toothpick here just temporarily until we kind of get it placed to where it will stay. And next we are taking our little mud splatters that we made, and we're going to place one under each tire. And the way we're going to place that is just by dipping the bottom in a little bit of the melted chocolate. Then we can place it on there and until the chocolate, dries, and then it'll stay where it's supposed to. And for the ones that didn't want to stay, in place while the chocolate was drying, I just put a little piece of like paper towel or something under there just to hold it up until the chocolate dried, and then it was good to go. Alright, and here is the cake all finished. I'm just placing the little trees that we made earlier. Yeah, definitely waited till last minute to put these in, and I did have one break on me as I was placing it, but it was fine. It worked out. We just made it into a shorter tree. So it worked out. And Jamison was super happy with his cake. He loved it, and he now loves to drive this little truck around. It is a remote control, so he can use it and drive it around all over the place. So that is his birthday cake, and I hope you enjoyed this video, got some ideas for yourself for a cake maybe that you might be wanting to create, or an idea. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye.